Hi, I'm the Scrub and you're here for one reason. And they say the real estate market is... Hey, Future Scrub here. Sorry, no intro this time. This guide is already too long and we've got so much to get through. And that's what you call a bunch of weebs. Time to learn about the tower at Paradigm's Breach. Simplified. Head up the stairs until you come to the locked door. NieR will begin to hack into it. You'll need to interact with a network access point to take you to the next area. Walk forward and a pod will carry you into the first arena. As you move forward, you'll be greeted by the image of the first boss, Knave of Hearts. Roar is a room-wide AoE. The boss will cast Colossal Impact. You'll need to watch the boss to see what it does to determine the safe zone for this mechanic. If it has a red fire in its mouth, it will blast a straight line AoE through the middle third of the arena from its position, so you'll need to get to the sides of the arena to avoid the attack. If it moves back and clenches its fists, it will shoot out straight line AoEs across the sides of the arena from its position, so you'll need to get into the middle third of the arena to avoid the attack. Getting hit by any of these AoEs will give you a Vuln stack. Magic Artillery Beta will give all three tanks a marker to indicate a tank buster. These tanks will need to move away from the rest of the party as well as each other, as these do cleave. If you are a non-tank and you get hit by a tank buster, you'll be deleted from existence. The Knave will then cast Replicate. This will create a clone of itself on either the west or east side of the platform. The cast of stacking the deck will give the original Knave a single cube in front of it, while the other Knave will get 2 cubes in front of it. This will indicate the order of the next attacks, as both Knaves will cast Colossal Impact. This will either be through the middle or hitting the sides, so you'll need to look up to see which attack the Knaves will be casting so you can dodge each one of them accordingly. The cast of Spheroids will create spherical cannons at the north and south end of the arena. Each of the cannons will fire a slow-moving orb across the arena directed towards random players. While these are going on, the cast of Magic Artillery Alpha will target random players with point-blank AoEs, so everyone needs to spread out while avoiding the orbs as best they can. You'll get a Vuln stack per orb you get hit by. The cast of Light Leap will put 2 proximity markers in the middle of the arena. You'll need to get to the northernmost part of the arena not only for what comes next, but also to reduce the overall damage to you. When the Knave leaps to slam its feet on the arena, it will become untargetable for a few seconds. As the proximity markers are pulsing, there will be squares of AoEs scattered about the arena. If you are in these when the cast of Light Leap ends, they will just push you out of their AoE. The Knave will then cast Replicate and stacking the deck to create a clone of itself on either the west or east of the platform. It will then cast Lunge. This will be a straight line knockback across the arena from whichever Knave is casting the attack. You can use knockback immunity to negate the push, but if you can't, you'll have to position yourself to be pushed into a cube that has risen from the square AoEs around the arena. When the Lunge cast hits, these cubes will disappear and new ones will appear. You'll need to position yourself to be in front of the next set of cubes. If you fail to get in front of a cube, you'll be launched off the arena. Mechanics will begin to cycle starting from here. There will be another Replicate cast, but this time there will be 3 Knaves instead of 2. When stacking the deck is cast, you'll have to see which of the Knaves on the side will have 2 cubes, which will be firing second, and which one will have 3, which will be firing third. Then all of them will start casting Colossal Impact. The ones that are firing second and third will always be opposites of either the middle third of the arena or the sides of the arena, so you'll always have to dodge between the middle third and either the front or back of the arena to avoid the attacks from the Knaves on the side. As these attacks finish, there will be another cast of Spheroids which will appear on the west and east sides and create straight line AoEs across the arena. While these are going off, there will be another Magic Artillery Alpha which will give many players a point blank AoE. Everyone just needs to spread out as much as possible and avoid the AoEs. There will be another Light Leap with a Replicate and stacking the deck. However, when the second Knave does its lunge, the first Knave will cast Colossal Impact, so you'll need to move in front of a cube that is also not going to be in the Colossal AoE. There will be 2 cubes that will be close to each other, so you'll need to move quickly to make sure that you don't get a Vuln stack or get launched off the arena. Again, you can always use knockback immunity. When this mechanic has ended, there will be another cast of Spheroids which will put the sphere cannons on the north and south sides of the arena, while the Knave will cast Colossal Impact. So dodge the orbs and the straight line AoEs as best you can. From here, mechanics will repeat until the Knave of Hearts has been defeated. Take the pod to the next path. Follow the path up the staircases until you reach the next pod, which will take you to the second arena. The second boss will be the images of the mechanical knight siblings Hansel and Gretel. As you start DPSing them, the one with lesser health will cast Upgraded Shield, and the one with more health will cast Upgraded Lance. The one that casts Upgraded Shield will get images of large round shields on its rear and sides, which will ricochet damage back to you if you attempt to attack through the shields with the hit of Repay. This will not only damage you, but also knock you back a fair distance. Tanks can partially help with this by facing the open side of the enemy towards the rest of the party. Before the casts of Upgraded Shield and Lance happen, tanks will need to grab the enemies and hold them apart from each other. If they are too close, they will get a thin purple tether connecting them. If they are tethered when the enemies get the shield and lance buffs, they will both get the shield buff and only be able to be damaged from the front. So tanks will need to make sure that the siblings are not in close proximity to each other. Both Hansel and Gretel will then perform one of 2 different casts. One will cast Crippling Blow, which is a tank buster on the tank that has the aggro, and the other will cast Wail, which is a room-wide AoE. Then the casts will swap between the enemies, so the room-wide AoE and tank buster will repeat. Both Hansel and Gretel will then cast Tandem Assault, Bloody Sweep. Anytime they cast a move like this, they will lose their shield and lance buffs. The bosses will then move together to the cardinal points on the wall of the arena, but they will always be 90 degrees apart. They will hold out their lances and cast Bloody Sweep, which will cause their weapons to start glowing. When the cast ends, Hansel and Gretel will cleave the half of the arena on the side of their glowing glowing lance. There are only 2 spots that will be safe for this mechanic, and you'll normally need to pay attention to where the lances are in order to solve this. If the lances are on the outside and far apart from each sibling, then the safe quadrant will be between where the enemies are standing. And if the lances are on the inside and closer to each sibling, then the safe quadrant will be on the opposite side of the arena to both siblings. However, there is an easy way to solve this, and it involves looking at the eye colors of the bosses. If the red-eyed boss is on the left and the blue-eyed boss is on the right, the safe spot is between the bosses. And if the blue-eyed boss is on the left and the red-eyed boss is on the right, the safe spot is on the opposite side. If you are in the wrong spot, you'll get a Von stack per AoE you are hit by. After the next cast of upgraded Lance and Shield, both of the bosses will cast Seed of Magic Alpha and Riot of Magic. Seed of Magic Alpha will put point-blank AoEs on 6 random players. These players will need to spread out as best they can. At the same time as this, Riot of Magic will put a stack marker on a random player. Everyone else will need to group up as best they can to share the damage. After these go off, both bosses will cast Tandem Assault Passing Lance. Hansel and Gretel will become untargetable, move to the north side of the arena, and link their weapons together while casting Passing Lance. A line of flame canisters will appear down the middle of the arena with 1 empty space. When the cast of Passing Lance ends, the bosses will dash down the arena in a thick straight line AoE, hitting every single flame canister down the line. These flame canisters will explode in straight line AoEs across the arena. Getting hit by an exploding flame canister will give you a Von stack. Getting hit by the thick straight line AoE will instantly kill you. So you'll need to make your way to the outside portion of the arena where there isn't a flame canister to dodge this attack properly. After another cast of upgraded Lance and Shield and another Wail and Crippling Blow double cast, Hansel and Gretel will cast another Tandem Assault Bloody Sweep. However, when they move, this time they will have intertwining red and blue arrows between them. This will swap their positions and also swap the safe zone. So if Blue Eyes was on the left and Red Eyes was on the right, they will swap, and this will also swap the safe zone. So you'll need to make sure that you are aware of where you need to go when they swap places. Both bosses will move into the middle of the arena and cast Wandering Trail, which will create spinning discs around the outside of the arena. These discs will orbit the arena and you'll get damage for every tick that you get hit by them. Both bosses will then cast Tandem Assault Breakthrough and become untargetable. They will dash to either side of the arena and turn to face each other. Both bosses will hold out their weapons as they will start gathering energy and cast Breakthrough, which will also put a proximity marker in the middle of the arena, so you'll need to be as far away from this marker to reduce the damage to you. You will need to be on the opposite side of the weapons, as when the cast ends, the bosses will clash together and cleave the side of the arena where their weapons are. If you are on the same side as the glowing lances, you will be instantly deleted. Make your way to the non-lance side of the arena and wait for the discs to pass each other. As they move apart, they will create a safe zone against the wall. Move between the discs into this open spot to get to the furthest point away from the marker. When the mechanic is completed, the bosses will become targetable again. After this will be another upgraded Lance and Shield, followed by another Wail and Crippling Blow double cast. Then it will have the Seed of Magic Alpha point blank AoEs and the Riot of Magic stack marker as the bosses cast another Tandem Assault Passing Lance. Make sure that you get to the outside part of the arena in the spot where there isn't a flame canister down the middle of the arena. There will be another upgraded Lance and Shield, followed by another cast of Wandering Trail to create another set of spinning discs. These discs will travel through the middle of the arena in a straight line, so try and dodge around them as best you can. Both bosses will then move to the middle of the arena and face opposite directions. They will cast wide conal AoEs with the cast of Hungry Lance. The only safe spots for this mechanic are directly beside the bosses on the outside parts of the arena. If you fail to get into a safe zone, you'll get a big hit and a Von stack. After the conal AoEs go off, make sure that you dodge the spinning discs. There will be another upgraded Lance and Shield, followed by the cast of Seed of Magic Beta. A few seconds after this cast ends, there will be AoEs at the feet of 6 random party members. You'll need to move out of these to avoid them. Getting hit by any of these AoEs will give you a Von stack. From here, Hansel and Gretel will repeat mechanics until one of the bosses has been defeated. When you defeat one boss, the remaining one will continuously cast Lamentation. This will be a room-wide AoE and put AoEs at the feet of random players with every cast until it has been defeated. When both enemies have been defeated, interact with a network egress point to be taken back to the starting area where the door will open up. Head up the stairs to the next locked door and interact with a network access point after NieR starts hacking into it to be taken to the next part of the raid. As you head forward, a few 2Ps will be in the arena. Kill all of them as fast as you can. They will perform Whirling Assault, which is a straight line AoE directed towards random players, and Balanced Edge, which will be a circular point blank AoE around each enemy. Getting hit by either of these mechanics will give you a Von stack. When all of the 2Ps have been defeated, flight units will appear one at a time on cardinal points around the arena. They will all slowly cast Light Fast Blade, which is an arena-sized cleave in the direction they are facing. You'll need to get behind all of them as quickly as you can while moving around the arena before they go off. These units will put scoped crosshairs on random players, which will be accompanied with a straight line AoE that will follow these marked players. Just guide these straight line AoEs away from the rest of the party. When the crosshair disappears, the AoEs will stop moving, and a few seconds later, a laser will fire through the straight line AoE. You'll just need to move away from the straight line AoE to avoid it. Getting hit by any of these AoEs will give you a Von stack. The scoped crosshairs will repeat on different party members. When all 4 flight units have been defeated, many 2Ps will appear and perform their same mechanics from before. Kill all of them as quickly as possible. When they have all been defeated, you can take the path and head up the sets of stairs until you get to the pod, which will take you to the next arena with Red Girl. This is false advertising because she is clearly a brunette. Cruelty is a room-wide AoE. After this goes off, the arena will change. There will be a death zone of orange stripes around the outer wall of the arena and also in a small square in the middle of the arena. Touching these areas in any way, shape or form will cause your bones to melt out of your body. While these are being created, Red Girl will quickly cast Shockwave. This will put white circle point blank AoEs on random players. These players will get a circle above their head letting them know when the AoE will go off with an analog countdown timer. Then Red Girl will cast Generate Barrier. This will put down narrow straight line AoEs through the middle of the arena. These will generate a series of cubes along the AoE, either black or white, in groups of 3. If you're still in these AoEs when the cubes are created, you will instantly die. There will also be coloured circle AoEs scattered around the arena, the same colour as the AoEs on random players, either white or black. The players with the AoEs will need to stand and overlap part of their circle with a set of the opposite colour cubes to what their circle is. So if you have a white AoE, you'll need to stand with the black cubes. The AoEs from the players and the AoEs around the arena will go off at the same time. Every black cube that will be hit by a white AoE will remove it from the arena. If you're in an AoE on the ground when it goes off, you'll get a vuln stack, so it's best to move out of them, especially if you have a point blank AoE of your own. There will be another cast of Generate Barrier, which will repair the black cubes that are on the north to south AoE. While this is going on, there will be white laser circles that will cover the entire north side of the arena. You will need to position yourself behind the cubes of the same colour as the lasers that are being fired. So if the laser is white, you'll need to move behind the white cubes so the laser hit will be absorbed instead of going through them and smacking you in the face. The next cast of Shockwave will give random players black circle point blank AoEs that will have an analog countdown timer. You'll need to position these over the white cubes in the arena to remove them from the fight. There will then be black lasers on one side of the arena. Again, stand behind the cubes of the same colour as the lasers to dodge the attack. Getting hit by anything avoidable during this mechanic will give you a very hard hit and a vuln stack. After these black lasers go off, Red Girl will cast another Cruelty Rune-wide AoE and return the arena to normal. Red Girl will move to the north end of the arena and cast another Generate Barrier. This will put down a square of narrow AoEs in the middle of the arena. One of these alliances will be stunned and pulled into the middle of this square before the barrier of cubes appears. Again, if you are in these AoEs when they go off, you will instantly die. After the cubes are created, Red Girl will cast Recreate Meteor. This will put a bright circle in the middle of the square, which will be a meteor that will slowly begin to descend towards the arena. Then Red Girl will cast Shockwave, which will give several players in each alliance a white circle point blank AoE. These players will need to position themselves for these to go off on the black cubes in the corner of the square barrier for what comes next. When the square corners are destroyed, everyone will need to move behind the white cube so there is a white wall between yourself and the meteor coming down from the middle of the arena. You will need to stay behind these cubes until the meteor goes off. If you are not behind a wall when the meteor hits the arena, you can't say that I didn't try to warn you, as your health bar gets removed from the plane of existence. Following this will be Manipulate Energy, which will be a tank buster to all of the tanks in the alliance. Tanks will need to spread out and avoid overlapping these, as these will cleave. And everyone else will need to get away from the tanks to avoid being deleted. If a tank has died, then a different player in the party will be voluntold as tribute. Another Cruelty Rune-wide AoE will reset the arena to normal. The cast of Replicate will put several smaller versions of Red Girl around the arena. These will create 120-degree conal AoEs in front of them, and they will all get arrows around them, indicating a direction in which they will spin. They will not always spin in the same direction, so make sure that you pay attention to which direction the arrows are rotating. They will fire off their AoEs and begin to spin 120 degrees in the direction of their arrows and keep performing their AoEs. So every 3 hits, they will complete 1 revolution. You will get a hard hit and a vuln stack for every AoE that you get hit by. This can get pretty chaotic, but I'm going to help you solve this easily. Stand behind one of the Red Girls as they spawn in. Then look for which direction her arrows are spinning, as you'll be wanting to stand next to the Red Girl and have her AoE be moving away from you. She will begin to spin and throw out her AoEs. As the second one goes off, move into it. Then wait for her to cast 2 more AoEs and move into the second one as it goes off. The mechanic will complete after she does 2 more AoEs. This means that you'll only need to move twice to complete the mechanic, leaving you way more time to DPS her down. After this will be another round of tank busters, followed by Red Girl casting Sublime Transcendence. This will be a rune-wide Rune-wide AoE with a jump scare. Red Girl will become untargetable and reappear on the outside part of the arena. She will then attempt to hack into you, transporting you into a hacking minigame. You'll have 2 buttons on your hotbar when you zone in. Liminal Fire, which just fires a laser of the same colour as your wedge, and FO Switch, which will change the colour of your wedge from black to white or from white to black. When you zone in, you'll have 2 pairs of different coloured walls in front of you. You will need to be the opposite colour of the wall in order to damage it. If you are the same colour as the wall and you shoot it, it will be invulnerable to your attacks. When you have broken through all 4 walls, you'll enter the middle of the arena. This room will have the sphere casting either Wave Black or Wave White with an AoE of the same colour as the cast that will cover the entire arena. You will need to be the same colour as the AoE to avoid taking any damage. If you are the opposite colour to the AoE when it goes off, you'll get a vuln stack. Since there is no way to recover health in this part of the raid, if you fail this mechanic enough, you will die. If you die in this minigame, you'll be taken back to Red Girl. There will also be black and or white pylons that will spawn into the area. These will start casting Big Explosion. If you ignore these and they explode, they will instantly kill everyone in the party, so it's best that you destroy these pylons first. The pylons only take 1 shot to go down. Once you defeat the sphere in the middle of the arena, you'll complete the minigame and be transported back to Red Girl. When you arrive back at Red Girl, you will notice that she is now a wall boss. She is Big McLarge-huge. The next rune-wide AoE of Cruelty will change the outside and middle square of the arena into another death wall. Several pylons will also be created on opposite quadrants in the arena, which will expand into medium-sized black AoEs. At the same time as this, Red Girl will chain several players to her hand and begin casting Child's Play. This will cause the chained players to be forced to walk in the direction of the arrows in front of Red Girl when the cast ends. So the chained players will be forced to move either to the left, to the right, or be dragged towards her. These players will need to make sure that they end up in a safe spot at the end of their forced march. In order to do this, they will need to position themselves to stand in the black AoEs first and then be forced to march into a safe zone. This is because after the forced march is complete, the AoEs will explode and you will get a Von stack for every circle you get hit by. You'll also need to make sure that you're positioned far enough away from a death wall on the outside or in the middle to ensure that you don't get dragged to your untimely demise. You'll normally move approximately half the distance of the arena. Also, don't hit sprint. Sprinting will still affect you and can last for the duration of this mechanic unless you click it off before the cast ends. This mechanic will repeat, but the pylons will be spread out in a checkerboard pattern instead of being grouped up. At the same time as this, several players will get a point blank AoE on them. These players will need to spread out and avoid overlapping these as best they can. Following this, there will be another cruelty room-wide AoE which will return the arena to normal, then another cruelty to change the arena back to the death wall. That really is cruel, changing it back to lull me into a false sense of security. AoEs will appear with the cubes that pop out of them with another cast of Generate Barrier. These will have a break in the cubes to create a doorway for you to walk around the barriers if you need to. There will be many laser circles on opposite sides of the arena. You'll need to quickly locate which of the cubes will be the safe zone for each set of lasers. If the lasers are coming from the north and south, you'll need to look out for the white lasers and which direction they are coming from, as these are the lasers that will have the white cubes intercept them. If the lasers are coming from the west and east, you'll need to look out for the black lasers and which direction they are coming from, as these lasers will have the black cubes intercept them. Again, if a cube gets hit by its opposite color, it will break. So make sure that you are behind the set of cubes that are the same color as the laser. If you can't make it to a barrier in time during the first set of lasers, you can stand in the doorway between the lasers and they will not hit this area. You will have to move quickly out of this area because red girl will regenerate the barriers. There will be 3 sets of these lasers, so make sure that you try and dodge into the safe zones as quickly as you can. When the final lasers have spawned in, there will be 2 meteors on opposite corners of the arena, 1 white and 1 black meteor. These meteors will hit the ground and explode in a huge room-wide AoE that will instantly kill you if you are not in the safe spot. It might be a bit tricky to find the safe spot, but you'll need to maneuver your way around the cubes and stand behind a set of white and a set of black cubes to block the hits from the meteors. This safe zone will always be in an opposite corner to both meteors. I normally like to try and solve 1 meteor first, then adjust myself to see where I should be standing for the second meteor. This usually works. Now the cubes will actually protect an area that will be slightly larger than you're anticipating, but just to make sure, it's better that you try and wedge yourself into this safe spot as best you can. After this will be another cruelty room-wide AoE and the arena will return to normal. Following this, there will be a red girl put on each side of the arena, and then the main red girl will cast Replicate. This will create the smaller red girls that will be spinning with their AoEs, but this time they will be chained by the larger red girls on the outside of the arena, and they will start casting Child's Play. When the cast ends, the chained smaller red girls will be forcibly moved into different areas of the arena depending on the direction of the arrows in front of the red girl that they are chained to. So you'll need to dodge around the red girl's AoEs as best you can while they are being moved around the arena. There is a little bit of a trick to this, but it's mainly RNG. You can stand with the red girl that has a chain as she spins around. When the girls have moved around the arena, hopefully you'll be able to locate a spot that won't have a red girl in it any longer. A bonus if it isn't in melee range. At worst, you'll get a Von stack from getting hit by one of the AoEs from the girls as they move around, but it's not a big deal at this point in the fight. From here, mechanics will begin to repeat until red girl has been defeated. Interact with the network egress point to be taken back to the second door. When you load in, the door will open and you can head up the stairs into the next area. You'll arrive at a platform with a small control panel in the middle of it. Only one person in the alliance will need to interact with the panel in order for the platform to begin to move. After a short time, there will be a mini-boss called Shunzi that will cling to the side of the platform. It will cast Deploy Armaments. You'll have to look at the mini-boss to see what it's doing to determine the safe zone. If it raises the outer portion of its shell and has fire from the side of it, it will shoot out straight line AoEs on the outside thirds in front of it. So the safe zone for this mechanic is in the middle third of the arena. If it holds its arms out in front of itself and they start being charged with electricity, it will shoot out a straight line AoE through the middle third of the arena. So the safe zones for this mechanic are on the outer thirds of the platform. If you get hit by either of these moves, it will give you a hard hit and a Von stack. Usually after this move goes off, the mini-boss will crawl underneath the platform and become untargetable. A second boss called Mengzi will appear on the platform in its place as Shunzi appears on the north side of the platform. Both mini-bosses will become targetable. Both of them will cast Deploy Armaments one after the other. You'll have to look at each boss to see if you have to dodge in or out of the middle third of the arena for each boss, as they will still perform the straight lines in front of them. If they both have their sides up, the direct middle of the arena will be safe. If they both have their arms up, the corners of the arena will be safe. And if they are opposite, you'll have to either get into the hitbox or to the opposite side of whichever boss have their sides up to dodge the middle hit from the other mini-boss. It will repeat this 3 times, so make sure that you are aware which one is casting which move. The third time this is performed, both mini-bosses will cast the move at the same time. While this third Deploy Armaments is happening, the robots from the first boss of Copied Factory will appear and target 4 random alliance members with scoped crosshairs and a laser through their position. These marked players will need to do their best to point these lasers away from the rest of the alliance. When the crosshairs fade away, the lasers will stop moving. After a few seconds, the laser will fire in a straight line AoE. Everyone else can move away from these lasers as best they can to avoid them. Getting hit by a laser will give you a hard hit and a Von stack. Both mini-bosses will then cast Universal Assault. This will be a room-wide AoE from both enemies. As these room-wides are going out, there will be untargetable ads that will spawn in the arena and begin to fire slow-moving orbs at random players. You can try and bait these orbs as best you can, but they are random, so will end up being a little chaotic. Just avoid all of the orbs as best you can. If you take a ball to the face, you'll get a Von stack. Mechanics will repeat until you defeat both mini-bosses. When both spiders have been defeated, the elevator will stop and the path will open up for you to climb the stairs and go through to the next area where you'll meet the final boss. Screaming Score is a room-wide AoE. The cast of Made Magic will have a wheel turning in front of the boss. The side area in the direction of the wheel is turning will be cleaved and will give you a Von stack if you get hit by it. You just need to get to the opposite side of whichever way the wheel is turning in order to dodge the attack. This cast will then repeat for the wheel in the opposite direction, so make sure you get to the other side of the wheel. After this will be the cast of Lighter Note. This will target one person in each party with crosshairs and a medium-sized AoE at their feet. These AoEs will have 2 arrows in them, either going up and down or left and right. If you get these crosshairs, you'll need to quickly move away from the rest of the party as the AoE will slowly follow you. The best position you can put these AoEs is directly into a corner of the arena. You won't have much time to do so, so you'll have to move quickly. This is because when these turn red and freeze in place, they will start to drop AoEs. They will begin from where the AoE was frozen in place and they expand outwards in the direction that the arrows were facing. So if the arrows were up and down, the AoE will start to fire outwards to the north and south sides of the arena, and if the arrows were to the left and right, the AoEs will fire outwards to the west and east sides of the arena. Everyone else will need to dodge around these AoEs and avoid the Von stack that these will give out if you get hit by them. This is why we try to place them in the corners, as it will maximize the safe zone for all players. The next cast of Rhythm Rings will place 10 rings on the north side of the arena. Pairs of orbs will then begin to rain down in the same spaces as the rings. When the orbs reach the rings, they will fire in a straight line AoE up the path where the rings are. Getting hit by any of these will give you a hard hit and a Von stack. You'll just need to dodge between the safe zones as best you can, or wait for the first pair of orbs to hit the rings and go off, then move into them and you'll be safe from the other 4 pairs as they travel down. When the last pair of orbs has fired, there will be back-to-back lots of 6 orbs instead of 2, so you'll need to make sure that you dodge into the safe zones that won't have an orb hit a ring for each row that descends. While these are going off, the false idol will cast Seed of Magic, which will put AoEs underneath random alliance members. Just dodge out of these to avoid them. Getting hit by any of them will give you a Von stack per AoE you are hit by. Following this, there will be another cast of Made Magic and another room-wide AoE. This will be followed by the cast of Darker Note. This will put a red marker above each of the tanks with a medium-sized point-blank AoE around them. When the cast ends, each of the tanks will be hit with a fairly hard tank buster. So these tanks will get away from the rest of the party and spread out as best they can, and everyone else shouldn't stand with the tanks as you'll be instantly squashed into the ground by the hit. From here, mechanics will begin to cycle until you get the false idol down below 50% health. This is where she will cast Eminence. When this cast ends, it will be a room-wide AoE with a knockback to all players. This will also cause everyone to be down for the count as an unskippable cutscene will play. When you regain control of your character, the arena will not have any walls, so try not to fall off. Her Inflorescence will cast Pervasion, which will change the arena's floor into one that is transparent. It will then cast Recreate Structure. If you look down, you will see a building spawn underneath the platform. It will get a timer on it that will count down from 5. When the timer is about to end, a distorted AoE will appear on the platform momentarily, followed by the building being launched straight up through the platform and into the air. You'll just need to make sure that you move away from the building's AoE before it is launched up. If you get hit by this building, you will find out the true definition of the word yeet and be thrown off the platform to your death. Her Inflorescence will cast another Recreate Structure and repeat the building mechanics, so make sure that you look down and dodge away from the flying building. After this building flies off into the distance, the arena will return to normal. The boss will cast Recreate Signal. 5 train tracks will appear across the arena. The boss will tether to the signals on the east end of the arena and cast Mixed Signals. This will make 2 of the track signals get a red light and 3 track signals get a green light. You will need to stand on the tracks with a red light, as the tracks with the green light will have a train run through their position. If you are standing on the tracks with the green light when the train rolls by, it will instantly kill you. This will also go through any invulnerability and transcendence. So unless you want this to happen,
I like trains.
make sure that you stand on the tracks with the red light. This mechanic will happen twice in a row, so make sure that you move on to the correct train tracks. Following this will be the cast of Lighter Note, which is the same as Phase 1. 3 random players will be marked with crosshairs and an AoE with arrows that will expand the AoEs in these directions. Just drag these away from the rest of the party. There will be another Screaming Score room-wide AoE, which will be followed with another cast of Darker Note, which is also the same as Phase 1. The red markers and AoEs on the tanks will be a hard-hitting tank buster. Everyone else will need to move away from the tanks or risk being deleted. Then the boss will perform 2 casts of Heavy Arms back to back. There will either be one small column of rubble in her hands underneath her, which will swipe in a straight line AoE through her hitbox in the direction she is facing, so the safe area for this mechanic will be outside her hitbox on the sides, or 2 wings of rubble out by her sides, which will cleave the entire right and left sides of the arena outside of her hitbox, so the safe area for this mechanic will be a straight line through her hitbox as the rest of the arena gets cleaved. Following this, you will move to the north side of the arena and cast Distortion, which is an excellent baby metal song. When the cast finishes, everyone will get the debuff of Distorted for 30 seconds, which will create a circle around every player. The circle around you will be in 2 halves. The black half will always be at the front, and the white half will always be at the back. Make sure that you keep this in mind. An AoE will be placed in the middle of the arena with the cast of the final song. If you are in this AoE when it goes off, or if you walk into the lingering AoE after it is placed, it will instantly kill you with 10 million damage!
damage!
When the cast of the final song ends, the boss will throw up 3 large rings which will fall from the heavens and land on this AoE, one at a time. You will need to turn yourself around to point the half of your circle that is the same color as the falling ring towards the lingering AoE in the middle of the arena before the ring touches the floor. Failure to do this will give you a vuln stack and a hard hit. If you have died and you don't have a ring around you, don't worry, this mechanic won't affect you. After all 3 rings have hit the floor, the arena will return to normal and everyone's debuff will fall off. Her inflorescence will move into the middle of the arena and cast Pillar Impact. This will create massive pillars that will cause a huge knockback with blue AoEs. These blue knockback AoEs will happen back to back from opposite corners. You'll be knocked back a little less than the distance from corner to corner, so you'll need to make sure that you have positioned yourself to be knocked towards the far corner, otherwise you might get flung into the void. You can also use knockback immunity or a well-timed gap closer to nullify the knockback. When both pillars have landed in the arena, the boss will cast Tower Fall. This will cause the pillars to begin to fall. Sometimes the shadows can be a decent guide at where they are falling, but they can be very deceptive. I normally look up to see which direction they are actually falling and try to move to a safe spot as quickly as I can. If you get hit by either falling pillar, you'll find out what it's like to be as thin as paper. After this, the boss will move to the north end of the arena and cast another Recreate Signal, but this will spawn in one train track outside the playing zone on the north end of the arena. As the train pulls up, there will be a lingering AoE to the north of the arena. Stepping into this AoE will instantly delete you. Several red girls will exit the train and stand in the lingering AoE. They will periodically fire orbs across the arena while mechanics will continue. There will be another cast of Distortion, which will create the circles around you, and the final song, which will put the lingering AoE in the middle of the arena. 3 rings will rain down onto the lingering AoE back to back, so you'll have to turn your character to make sure that you don't get hit by the opposite color ring. Following this will be another cast of Heavy Arms, so make sure that you pay attention to which one she is casting and which way she is facing, as this will determine the direction of the safe zone. Tanks, I'd recommend facing her as best as you can to the north. Then there will be another lighter note with 3 random players getting the expanding AoEs across the arena. As these are going off, there will be another cast of Heavy Arms, so dodge into the safe zone accordingly. When this second cast of Heavy Arms goes off, the red girls will board the train and it will leave. At the same time as this, there will be another cast of Recreate Signal, which will spawn in the 5 train tracks across the arena. There will only be one set of trains this time, so make sure that you are standing on a track that has a red light. As the trains are going past, there will be another cast of Rhythm Rings, which will place the 10 rings on the north side of the arena. 6 balls will descend and touch the rings, making the fire in a straight line AoE across the arena, so just move to a ring that won't be hit by an orb. Following this is a room-wide AoE, followed by the Darker Note tank busters to the tanks in each alliance. Mechanics will overlap and repeat from here until her inflorescence has been defeated. Congratulations, you have completed the Tower at Paradigm's Breach. My name is The Scrub. Thank you for watching.